Okay, so this week we are discussing a film that I'm sure will invite no controversy, in your friend group, in your family, if you watch it. Of course, I'm talking about Alex Garland's Civil War. This is a film that, unfortunately, feels like it isn't that far removed from reality in a lot of ways. I give it about 45 days post-election, regardless of result, honestly. This is a film about a civil war in the United States of America. It explores a group of journalists who are traveling throughout the country documenting the events of the war. And we just get a really large slice of the horrors of war and how bad it's going to suck 45 days post-election, regardless of result.
Yeah, well, I guess I can just put it out there that I hope you're wrong about that. Regardless of result, I hope you're wrong about that. But yeah, this film is one that, like you said, I'm sure will not be controversial for any reason. But even still, I think we should talk about it, and
For sure.
we're gonna focus on one question.
Okay.
And that question is, but is Civil War? I'm gonna phrase this just to be extra clear, okay?
Okay.
But is Civil War, the 2024 film by Alex Garland, good?
Okay. Good clarification. We're gonna find out today. So let's start the episode, shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
But is it good podcast? Yeah.
What's up?
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, how are you? How's Wisconsin?
Hey. It's quite good, eh? You know?
Yeah. Have you had any cheese?
Oh dear, it's I've had some cheese. Yeah, I had some cheese curds the first night here. They're quite good. It's been fun. Madison was fun.
What about like root
Yesterday
beer?
was quite fun.
Have you had any root
I
beer?
didn't have any root beer.
Damn.
No, I haven't had any root beer. I've had a lot of old fashions, which
Okay.
apparently I did not realize is a Wisconsin drink.
Listen, you're made for Wisconsin. Look at you.
I did not know. Just look at me. Well, Wisconsin looks good. I mean, doesn't it? Yeah, I did not realize that an old fashioned was a Wisconsin original, and so I've had like 7. Yesterday was quite a fun day. We got a good hookup and got some behind home plate seats to the Brewers game.
That's awesome.
So that was quite fun.
How'd you get that hookup? Just out of curiosity, like. So we can't even do that for the
my
Braves.
Job,
Yeah.
So my job is that I interview CIOs, technology leaders of companies around the country. And sometimes they're big companies, like I'm at the CIO of Target. And in Atlanta, in Georgia, I think we did do the Braves one year. I got to meet Jeff Francoeur and I held his World Series ring. But we know the CIO of the Brewers. And so my boss was like, because that's who I'm here with. I'm here with my boss, George. And he was just like talking to the client. And so the client has a working relationship with these people. We meet them whenever we interview them. So we kind of know them, but they know them very well. And the client was like, hey, I'll see if we can get tickets. And
you did.
my boss and one of the girls from the client emailed this guy. I was like, hey, we're thinking about going to the game. And he was like, yeah, I'll hook you up. Here's some tickets. And what's funny is that the ticket said infield box, and we thought that we got like a suite. And I was like, holy shit, that'd be incredible. It wasn't, but still, super cool park. The Brewers won. Got to see Bryce Wilson and William Contreras. That was cool.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah, it was fun. So it's been a good trip, but I am ready to go home tomorrow.
I bet.
So, yeah. How are you? You working
good.
a lot?
I'm good. I'm working. I'm good. I'm doing well, generally speaking.
Yes, very good. Good. That's a good thing.
Just look at me.
I can see it. You're glowing. Shall we jump right in, sir?
Yeah, so I would like you to give me your first impressions of Civil War, the movie, not
My
just like in
first
general.
impressions. Yeah, just make sure everybody knows that we're talking about the film, not the Civil War that happened in America in the 1800s.
Or any Civil War that's happened in other
That's
countries,
that's factual. Any Civil War, um, or the one that apparently is going to happen 45 days post-election, regardless of result.
regardless of result.
Regardless of result.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw this on Monday with George in Madison, Wisconsin, and it was quite interesting. No, it was intense, man. This was a movie that was really it was kind of hard to watch in a lot of ways, but it was very effective. Um I thought it was brilliantly made. I thought it was very impactful. Um I was just stressed out the entire time.
Yeah.
It's a really tense movie that is not meant to be comfortable to watch. It is meant to be kind of horrible. Um, it's I don't know. This is kind of spoilery, so I don't want to get into that. But more broadly speaking, like the last 30 minutes, I thought were pretty incredible. But also, I had like heart palpitations. Um,
Really? Are you
well,
okay?
just like I thought. No, yeah, I'm fine. But I was. There's a lot of sitting up, on my hands and knees, and I was sitting like this a lot. A lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was brutal, man. This movie's pretty brutal. Just if that's my first reaction to it. I was kind of reading some reviews of it and kind of seeing people on both sides. But my initial reaction was that I felt exhausted after watching it because I think I was supposed to, not like it was a slog to get through or because I thought it was like it drug
Mm-hmm.
on. I don't think that at all, but because it it's really tough in my opinion, at least. But I thought it was good. I thought it was very good. I thought it was a very, very good movie. How about you?
Well, there you have it. That's
Yep.
the episode. You gave it
Should
up
I have
already.
not said that? Ah, shit. I'm sorry. Yeah, but we don't know
No,
your
it's fine.
version yet.
Oh, that's true. Have you seen
Yeah.
Nightcrawler,
I have
the
seen
movie?
Nightcrawler. I saw it once a long time ago. I remember liking it.
Okay.
I remember it being very intense.
The last 30 minutes of this give me Nightcrawler vibes. Um,
Okay.
and we can get into why. It was very intense. I think it was. So I'll say when the movie first started, and I realized that the entire film we were going to be from the perspective of these journalists who were documenting the war. I was kind of like, oh, this isn't going to be as cool as if it was like the generals like talking and being like, we're
Yeah.
Texas, we're awesome. I don't know. But it really it grew on me as the movie progressed. It felt very high stakes throughout. Um, and yeah, it was high intensity 100% of the time. Some really great performances from some really great actors. One of which was uncredited, and he was in the. Jesse Plemons was not credited for his role in this film, which is interesting. I
Oh,
thought
okay.
I thought once you were a member of the like SAG, you had to be credited if you
Yeah.
like had an appearance in films, but he was not credited for his role because it was supposed to be someone else, and they just didn't show up. And as you probably know, Jesse Plemons is married to Kirsten Dunst, so she was just like, "Hey, babe, can you come act?"
That is true.
So, anyways,
Interesting. I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. It grew on me. I didn't think I was gonna like it. I'll say that in like the first 20 minutes or so, and then it in the last 30 minutes I think are excellent, just like you said. So a lot of agreement with you, which is out of the norm, I would say. You know.
Hmm. Is it?
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm. So spoilers ahead.
Yep. It's spoiler time.
There are
It
spoilers.
is.
I will say, just for anybody listening, for all one of our listeners, I don't know if you're experiencing this, Zach. You're a little delayed. I'm in a hotel and I was having trouble getting on the Wi-Fi, so
Okay.
I'm on like a public Wi-Fi, and it's kind of trash. So if I like drop out or there's a weird stitch in the audio, it's because I had to edit it together because the Wi-Fi crashed. As of right now, I can see you and I can see myself, so that's pretty good. So just giving
That's
everybody a
pretty
heads
good.
up. Anyway, spoilers ahead. Spoilers ahead.
That's right.
Zach, I do believe that it's time for you to do a movie in a minute.
Okay. Okay.
Are you up for the challenge?
Yeah, I am. I am.
You know, look, there's a little bit of reluctance in your voice, and I'm not exactly sure how to take that. So,
Pull up a fucking timer. Okay. It's a big delay because I said let me pull up a fucking timer a long time ago.
oh, well, you know, we're just kind of dealing with it. I can scoot your audio up just like a little bit in post, and we can go from there.
Okay.
But, you know,
Okay.
is what it
I
is
feel like
this
there'll
week.
still be a sizable gap because if you scooch it up a little bit and then then you start talking, then you're going to be overlapping because I'm still going to be talking, right? Or I'll start talking before you're done if you scooch it up too much because then it'll scooch, 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 scooch. You know,
I'll probably
or
scooch it up like the correct amount. Mm-hmm.
the right amount. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So here's Alex Garland's film Civil War. Movie in a
Yes.
minute. In
Okay,
three,
yes.
2, 1, go. Okay, so we start in New York City. There's a lot of unrest. There's a war going on. There's these journalists. They're there. They're documenting the unrest, but they want to get to Washington D.C. to film the president and interview him because he's a butthead. There's other countries that have seceded and formed their own nations. There's like the Western Front. You got the Florida Alliance, and you got the Wisconsin men or something. I don't know. They're like their own thing. Um, shit. So they get on the road and they see all sorts of awful stuff. One of them dies. Two people who just run into him on the road, they also die because they were being stupid. Um, they find the power of friendship and get to shit. The flag has 2 stars but 13 stripes, so that doesn't make any sense to me. And then they get there and they kill the president, and he's dead, and that's the end of the movie.
I love how you I love how you included the flag. I wonder if that's so. Let's talk about it for a second. So, can
Yeah.
I actually let me pull up a map on my phone? I actually had this pulled
The
up and I forgot
13 the
about it.
13 stripes
Civil
are
War.
totally representative of half of the states in the loyalist area. So they're basically
Let's see here.
representing their enemy.
So, Civil War. Here we go. So, the Florida Alliance. Here we go.
Hmm.
So, the Western Forces is Washington State, Oregon, Idaho, Montana,
That's the new
Wyoming.
People's Army. We're looking at different maps. The Western Alliance is
Oh,
just
this is Western.
California and Texas.
Oh, you're so right. You're so right. It was called something different. Okay. I see what happened. I see what happened. Okay, so gotcha. I see what's happening. So this map that I'm looking at says Republic of California, Second Republic of Texas. That would be the Western Forces, Western Alliance, or whatever.
Well,
So
you
the
might
New
be
People's
looking at
Army.
it. Sorry, I know there's going to be a delay, and I'm just going to be fucking talking at some point,
That's
probably in
fine.
30 minutes from now. But you might be looking at an outdated map because originally there were different regions, and I think they changed them. And so I'm looking at the map that's
Okay,
on
gotcha.
its Wikipedia page. And so the Western Forces is just California and Texas, and then the New People's Army is the states that you started listing is the New People's Army, and then you've got the Florida Alliance, which is like the SEC, basically. you
Yeah,
know,
pretty much. That's true. That's true.
um,
So I'm trying to see how many states are there in the how many. So those are those the Western Forces and the New People's Army and the Florence Alliance and the Florida Alliance. Those are all on the same side, right?
yeah, yes, but it's like a tenuous alliance between them, so they're not they've all
Okay.
seceded separately. Um, and at the beginning, Oh God, what's his name? The the guy that I didn't want to die and he died.
Oh, Sammy.
Sammy. So Sammy says, the second they take out the president, they're all going to turn on each other. This is just like an alliance of
Mm,
convenience kind of thing. So
I got you.
the flag that we see is at a Western Front, or yeah, Western Forces military camp, and it's literally two states. It's Texas and California, but so it had two stars, and then it had 13 stripes.
I wonder if they just did that out of convenience because it's like, okay, well, let's just change the stars.
People know what the American flag is. Let's just make it two stars. I just thought it. Also, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
This is like a beginning of the movie question, because pretty early on they're like, we're going to Washington D.C. So Washington D.C. is only like maybe 250 miles from New York City,
Uh huh.
but it's like miles to Washington D.C. 890 or something. Did you pick up on that? Like, did I miss something? Because New York
Is
City
it
is
really that
not
close?
800. Yeah, well, think about it. So Washington D.C. is
Oops,
like right
sorry.
outside of Baltimore.
Let's find out.
Look at a map.
I am on New York.
New York City to
New York
Washington
City.
D.C. 228.
Wow.
And in the movie, it was like 800 and something miles or whatever. Did you pick up on that? Did they have to go around
So
because they couldn't go
I wonder
through the
which
north?
maybe because I just did one map like going from DC to New York and it says 590 miles. But this route, look at my phone here. Look,
I can't see shit on your. Sorry, I can't see it.
is it blurry?
It's extremely blurry.
Well,
Yeah.
this route is like very roundabout.
Okay.
So didn't he say something like you have to go all the way over to Pittsburgh or whatever, and like you'd have to? So it must have been that they went like super out of their way.
So I think they did go to Pittsburgh, and then they went all the way down to Charlottesville, Virginia, which is pretty out of the way. Yeah. So I wonder why they
So
did that.
did hmm,
Because the straight shot from New York City to Washington D.C. is 232 miles. You just get on the 95, past Philadelphia, go through Baltimore real quick, and you're there. I mean, it's not that quick, but
yeah,
you know.
interesting. So, um, I want to ask you, what do you? Well, I mean, you can. I don't know. This is kind of an end of the discussion question, but I find it fascinating. This kind of movie. Like, what do you think this movie was about? Like, what do you think it's saying? Because I think it's fascinating that I feel like it goes out of its way to make it very ambiguous as to like the sides, like who's good, who's bad, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can agree that the president is a liar at the
Not
very
not
least,
the
because he's
not
he's
the
like
best.
losing,
Yeah.
and he's like, we've scored a decisive win, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Um,
Hmm.
so I think two things. I think one, war sucks. Generally, it was a big message of the film. Um, and two, I think it was about, God, I can't think of the names. Jesse, Jesse's character,
Hmm.
and her like transformation, becoming desensitized and like almost like uh uh thrill obsessed, where she would like step out in front of the bullets and all that kind of stuff. That's what felt like Nightcrawler to me, was how like she has a camera in her hands and Kirsten Dunst's character literally gets shot and killed, and she's taking pictures of it. Like this person that she's connected with and who is her idol and all this kind of stuff, and she's completely desensitized.
Yeah.
So like the desensitive effects of war and how bad war sucks. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Hunter
Well, no,
Callahan?
I definitely I was just curious because I the reason I asked is because I saw it with my coworker George and we were talking about it and he was very frustrated by the ambiguity of a lot of it, in the sense of we don't really find out how we got to this point, and
Okay.
the instance of like, you know, why are they fighting? What are they fighting for? Who is the good guys, bad guys, quote unquote? You know, like what side are you on? But I read a thing and I found it interesting that it said they thought that the choice to make California and Texas an alliance is like a literal way of being like, it doesn't matter which side, because on paper those two states won't typically
Well, yeah.
line up.
Yeah, I don't think you need to well, I'm glad you read something online that said that. I don't want to say I don't think you need to read something online to, but it doesn't matter, right? Like it literally doesn't matter. And one of the first things, not one of the first things, but pretty early on in the film, what is Kirsten Dunst's character? I don't know anybody's name. I was just
Lee,
stressed out the whole time.
Lee,
Lee Smith. So Lee's
yeah,
character, she says, like, we don't ask questions, we don't do this, do that, we take pictures and document so that other people can ask those questions. So if it's from their perspective, like they literally go from loyalist territory into Western forces territory, so like they're literally like on both sides, right? Just taking pictures and
yeah,
documenting and doing their thing. So I George, I don't think it matters. I understand your
yeah.
frustration,
Well,
but I
that's what I
think
was
that's
saying.
mhm, mhm.
I I'm thinking.
Okay.
I think the scene that I loved a lot. I know we already got to skip around, sorry, but the scene that I loved a lot is when they went to like the Winter Wonderland or whatever. You know, that
And
little
the guy's in the house and they're
strip of
like,
road.
which side is that guy on? And he's like, no, you don't understand, there's a guy in there with a gun shooting at us, we're gonna kill him. Like, it doesn't matter what side you're on, George.
Yeah, he's like, he's like, there's a guy in there trying to shoot us, and so we're trying to shoot him. Um, yeah, and I think that's, like I just think, yes, the overarching point of this to me was, yeah, war sucks and it's awful, and it's the reality of like nobody really wins. It doesn't really matter, like when you're on the ground, it's just a matter of surviving. But yes, I do think that it's also the story of Jessie and kind of her descent, if you will, or transformation into essentially Lee. Like Lee passes that baton, for better or worse, onto Jessie. Um, like when Lee gets killed and Jessie takes a picture. What the heck is this? Look at that. What's going on? I don't
Wait,
know how to turn that off. I don't know how to turn it off. It's done it for like a year and a half. I can't figure out how to turn it
it's
off. Doesn't
hilarious,
matter.
it's really funny.
Um, uh, when she like takes a picture and like Lee's laying there dead, she like sits up and just like looks forward and like won't. It's almost like she won't look at Lee. But to
Right.
me, that was the definite like she stepped into like what Lee warned her about, I guess, and that's definitely what it's about to me too. But I just think it's fascinating this idea of when you're down there in the trenches, if you will, it really doesn't matter. Like Jesse Plemons' character. Uh, I don't think that person had a flag on their uniform. Uh,
He could have just been out there having a good time killing people, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
war,
and
like people
yeah,
can just go crazy, right?
and I don't know if it was some like, if he was a loyalist soldier, so if he was a U.S. soldier, if you will, he might have realized that the war was lost, and so he was like going scorched earth and just doing whatever he wanted. But then if he was a Western Forces or a New People's Army, like he could have just snapped, like I don't know. It's just a tough. I don't know, man. It's a tough movie to watch. It really is. But visually, I think it's super fascinating to see essentially the aftermath in our country. The destruction and um, I don't know. I just think it's really interesting. What
I
are you
think
looking
he
up?
is loyalist because he is open to the idea that people are from Missouri and Colorado, which are both loyalist to
You are
states.
correct. Yeah, that's a good point.
Kills the dude from Hong Kong. He kills the other guy who we don't know where he
Yep.
was from, and he was getting ready to kill the last guy whose name I don't
Jesse.
know, even though we spend the whole
Oh,
no
Joel. Joel, the guy from
Joel.
Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the guy played by the guy from Narcos. I
Yeah, yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
think of him as
yeah.
anything else other than the guy from Narcos. But yeah.
Um, since we've mentioned that scene so many times, we can just talk about it. That scene was brilliant. I was mortified. That entire scene, I was like, my heart was like pounding. I was like, it was interesting because I thought it was impressive to me that I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how they get out of this. I don't know what's going to happen. I just knew that it was going to be not good.
Did you
You
expect
know,
Sammy to come in with the vehicle and just run him over?
I did not. I did not. What do you think of that scene?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I feel like we've already talked about it.
Yeah, no, I just
It
was
was
trying to be a little
intense.
more detailed about the.
Okay.
Um,
Um,
yeah, go on.
so I was mad. I knew when that other car pulled up and they were all like, "Woo, we're having fun." I was like, "They're gonna fuck something up. They're gonna mess it up for
Mm.
everybody." I thought Jesse was stupid for jumping into the other car. Um, and then they just speed off, and the friend's like, "Oh, they're fine. We're fine. Yeah, yeah. Let's jump in the shark infested waters. Woo, spring break." And then bad things happen. And so I was just like kind of frustrated. I mean, it was intense, but I was frustrated with those guys, and then they end up dead.
Yeah,
But I kind of expected them to, because anytime you've got like a core group and then other people show up and it's one of those like
yeah,
bad things happen
they're not gonna
everywhere
last.
movies, they're not gonna make it. um
Yeah, I did know somebody from the core group was gonna die.
yeah, wish it wasn't
I was pretty
Sammy.
sure. Oh, I know, dude. I love Sammy. Sammy was like, he was the best. Um, I really enjoyed so I loved the idea and like what it was kind of saying in the sense of that little town that was like untouched, if you will, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "We're just trying to stay out of it." Uh, and this idea of like uh, bystanders, you know, and kind of how you can't really just not be involved. Does that make sense?
What do you mean?
Well, like I'm thinking of like 2020 and like all the unrest and stuff that happened, and it was like, well, if you do nothing, then you have an assumed position. Does that make sense?
That does make sense, but once open armed conflict has begun, do you expect that woman who owned the little boutique shop to get a gun and start shooting people? Like,
No, no,
you
that's
know what
fair.
I
I
mean?
understand
Like,
that, but it does seem interesting to literally act like it isn't happening. Which was funny is that Jesse and Lee were saying like, yeah, my parents are on a farm back home, pretend like this is not going on, you know. And maybe that was a reflection of the president at the time
I feel
that
like,
deceitful of. Yeah, go on.
sorry, I was just going to
No,
say, I
no, you're
feel
good.
like the vast majority of people in the US that were in areas that weren't affected, like not within like the direct fighting lines, would be acting like nothing was going on, is how I view
Really?
it. Yeah. I mean, think about it. They're not fighting up in Seattle. No. There's probably like one line of combat going from Texas, California areas through Charlottesville into DC, because they're just trying to take the president out. Because once the president, it seems like, I know we don't get much context, but it does seem like it's a cut off the head of the snake situation, where like maybe
Yeah.
the people living
Take
in the
Washington.
loyalist states don't even really agree with the president, but that's the states that they live in, right? I'm sure there are like true loyalists. Like, I think that chick in the shop, she was like, "Well, they're telling us everything's fine, I'm sure she was listening to messages directly from the president, right? And the president was like, everything's
Mhm.
fine, live your life as normal. So does that make sense? But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, go on. I just felt like that was an interesting addition, an interesting like maybe a commentary on like the influence of the media, if you will, that idea of of I don't want to say the media because you have the journalists who are on the ground trying to actually get kind of tell what's going on, show what's going on, but um and they had said that the president hadn't like given an interview or like talked to the media in like years or something like that.
right.
Um, but I think it's just a maybe a little commentary on like misinformation or like chosen ignorance. Um, because I agree
Well,
with you to an extent. Like obviously they're not fighting in every place in America. I get that.
it sounded like you were going to continue.
I wasn't. I was waiting.
Okay. I was just gonna say, I do think I think if this happened, there would be a collective like, I don't want to touch that. I hope it doesn't come to
Yeah.
my area, kind of thing. Like if a war began, uh, do you think like are you going to fight the war, or are you going to take care of Hollis and Hannah? You know what I mean? Are you going to
Well,
stay and
I would.
try to go to
Yeah. No, I know what you
Trilith and
mean.
eat some donuts and like try to keep things normal for your family, right? You see what I'm saying? Like,
I understand that. I do understand that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like
I'd go fight because
I don't
I
know how to.
mean, I would bring Athena with me, and she'd have like spikes, and she would run into people and just impale them, and then I would
Nice.
shoot
But
them.
that's okay. I'll say that's leg level. So she's just gonna like immobilize them,
She
and
can
then
jump
they'd be
pretty
like,
high.
okay.
She could impale someone in the chest.
Oh, oh
Yeah,
man, wow, that is true. I believe it. I believe that. Yeah, I don't know. I just think there's a lot of interesting ways that this can be taken. What do you think about? Again, forgive us. Like I know we're fighting the delay, and it's already been 30 minutes and everything, and we're both tired, but
I'm
we're
not tired.
jumping around. I'm kind of tired. Sorry. Um, what do you think of the choice to kill the president? Like to have the U.S. or what's left of the U.S., the loyalist states, essentially lose.
What do you mean? There's got to be a loser, and it's clear from the
Well, no, I
beginning
know
of the
that.
movie that what the president is saying is not factual to what's actually going on the ground, right? So it seems like the logical conclusion to
Okay,
me
fair, easy,
personally.
simple. I just think that's gonna. I mean, I would say typically in a movie like this, you would expect like a rally and everything gets rectified somehow, and the U.S. is like justified and righteous. Um, and maybe in
Are you
from
saying you
some
wanted the
perspectives, maybe
dictator president to win?
no, that's not what I'm saying. I just think it's an interesting choice. I think it will prove to be a controversial choice. You know.
We're going to see 45 days after the election, regardless of result. You'll see, you know?
Okay. I hope I don't. I hope I don't. Um. But yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting. It's a very. I think he knew what he. I think he knew he'd be making a controversial choice, and I don't think. Like I was reading some stuff, and I was reading that the president is intentionally meant to be generic, I guess, and not generic. I think he leans Trumpian. I would say
Okay.
personally, but I don't think it's intended to be like, oh, this is you know what I mean? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I do
I
feel
mean,
like
we
they
don't
tried
really
to
know his
be
political
neutral.
policies. I mean, we don't know what he does, cuz at this point he's just like hiding in his little home about to be killed, right? Like throughout the whole movie he's
Well,
basically in
yeah,
bunker mode, you know? It's like the
yeah.
end
What do
for
they
him.
say? They say like three things. They say like he ran for a third term. They say he like
Okay.
disbanded the FBI,
And he
and
massacred Antifa.
yeah, and like dropped bombs on like American citizens essentially. Um, yeah, I just think that's smart. I think that's a very because otherwise you're making a political statement whether you want to or not. You know, if
Well,
you
the
make
president killed Antifa, so that's kind of making a political statement.
yeah, which what's that? I don't think I mean, what do they say that in the sense? I think Lee is talking. I think she's talking to Jesse, and she's like, "You took the picture, the photo of the Antifa massacre." Um, yeah, I mean, that's. I feel like it leans a certain direction towards who they're essentially talking about, but I don't know. I just think that's an interesting. I just think it's a really it's a it. I don't know. It's an interesting road to go down. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, but I think it's the right road to go down for a movie like this. I wouldn't have liked this
Yeah.
film, Hunter, if it was like, let's reconcile our differences and come together once again. Yay. Yay. Because this movie is very, like, even though it avoids direct correlation with the way things are in a lot of ways, it's, I mean, come on. The political landscape is very polarized. And so if there was a
Yeah.
conflict, it seems like when we have conversations with people who don't agree about certain things, there's no resolution available at this point in like the collective zeitgeist, if you will. So if it came to
Good
war,
word.
like would there be this beautiful like Rocky Four resolution, or would there just be just bloodshed and one side wins? I mean, think about it. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm a pessimist.
No, I agree. I agree. I agree. I don't think this film would have worked. I think this film would have lost. I maybe I'll say credibility. I don't know if that's the right way, but impact if it had finished in some like magical "we're all okay again." Um, like I think of this is a weird analogy, but just stay with me because that would essentially render it consequenceless.
Well, there's the people that died. That's a
Um,
consequence.
Well, hold on. I was about to say, think about. I just thought of Godzilla X Kong, where like in the which is a bad movie. Um, in the last battle in Rio, they like probably kill like 70,000 people, and people are just like, "Hey, yay, we won!" You know, and like it's never mentioned.
Yeah,
So I think this movie would have been worse if they were like, "Hey, the tyrannical president's gone, but now we're all going to be united again, and we have a new president, and they're going to be great, and we all USA." I don't think that would have been a smart move. I think it's because yeah, like this is in this future the country fell apart. It's not that it was close or that it's divided. It fell apart. You know, so it's not
yeah,
some magical fix. I think I would agree with you on that.
yeah. I have a question for you. Um,
Yes.
so at the beginning of the film, Jesse's character is, shell shocked, afraid, cowering in fear, which I think are all perfectly reasonable reactions to what is going on around her. And throughout the film, she becomes more and more desensitized, and at the end is like just like a vessel for a camera, just taking pictures regardless of her safety or like anything. Um, Contrast that to Lee, who at the beginning
Lee.
is that character at the end, right? Who, there's this huge explosion just like feet away from them, and she, gets Jesse out of the way, but then she starts taking pictures, and she's like putting herself in harm's way and doing this, that, and the other. There's a little skirmish where shots are coming like right towards her, and she's there taking pictures and doing her thing. But then at the end, she seems to become more and more afraid and shell shocked, and it seems like she's become sensitized again. What do you make of that? What do you think that the filmmakers were attempting to say? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think a couple of things. I think with Jesse, you know, it's definitely the desensitization of people and of, I mean, and her, but as a whole, we're so desensitized to just conflict. Um, but yeah, I think for Jesse, we kind of see her. She looks up to these heroes and kind of knows. She sounds like she knows what she's getting into. She was just like, "This is my choice." Because Lee very sternly and very coldly is like, I wouldn't get on this path. Don't do it. Whatever. She's not exactly warm to Jesse at the beginning. Um, and then there is even that moment where Jesse asks her, like, "Would you photograph me, like when I like if I got shot?" And
Mm-hmm.
I think Lee's answer, where she's like, "What do you think?" I think that's a sidestep, but also kind of a way to be like, maybe the first little seed of like Jesse of leaving, like, "Oh shit, what I guess I would," you know what I mean? Like, is that? But then obviously foreshadowing for Jesse, and I think
Right.
the end, she really goes through the ringer. She gets thrown into that mass grave. She watches not just people get shot who are soldiers, but people that she's close with, per se, media. I don't know if she was close with those two guys from the truck, but
She
she
just
was
met
like
them.
with them.
Literally just met
Yeah,
them.
but in the sense of like, could have been her,
Okay.
the soldier who was hiding behind that pillar and tried to get to cover. That's a little different, I think, because soldier in a gunfight, um, and then being in the mass grave, that kind of starts to, like, I would say, break her a little bit. Um, but then I think it's the combination of what kind of Joel, like his side, where he's like an adrenaline junkie too. Like, he's talking about how it's such a rush, and so I
Yeah.
think it's that combination of like being exposed to such horrible things repeatedly, but then also it simultaneously giving some sort of crazy dopamine rush or adrenaline rush. Because you're right, at the end, I was like, she's gonna get shot. There's no way she's not gonna get shot because she was just running out into the open, like tanks,
Right.
everything, just getting pictures. And I think for Lee, there's little seeds along the way of like, maybe she's trying to rediscover her life herself. I really loved that shot when they were at the snipers and she's laying on the ground, and it goes in focus of like the little blue flowers,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
she's like
That's a
looking
good
at the
shot.
beauty around her, like she's trying to see beauty around her again. Um, but I think for her it's Sammy. I think Sammy getting killed, her deleting that picture was, I think, her choice of being like, I don't want to be this anymore, because that might have been a very impactful photograph, but she chose to honor and remember her friend
Yeah.
over doing the job. And then it, essentially chose to sacrifice herself to save Jesse. And I do think, with the knowledge of like, she was like, Jesse can get this shot now. I don't need to do this anymore.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of how I took it.
I agree. Cool. Cool.
Because it's like, the press. It's not that they're immune. It's like they kind of know that what they're getting into. But when, like, those two guys, their friend from the truck get killed, and it's like those things start happening. I think maybe because it wasn't like in a battlefield, it was like they were targeted and they just didn't care.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's fair. Yeah, they were singled out. I was gonna mention when Jesse no when Lee says to Jesse, like, there's a lot of other ways that Sammy could have gone and a lot of them would have been worse. Um I get the impression that in Lee's career she's seen this happen a lot.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it was, I'm not saying Sammy's death wasn't impactful because Sammy's death hit me pretty hard, but I wonder if it
Mm,
was her seeing herself in Jesse and wanting to be protective of that and like almost giving her something to like care about, whereas prior she
yeah.
didn't have anything to necessarily like attach to. Um,
Yeah.
because I mean, her undoing is her like protecting Jesse, who she sees very much like herself, right?
Yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting, specifically like the climax of the movie, right, is them storming the White House. Um, and she's just like locked up. She's not taking pictures. She's not doing anything. She's like 100% shell shocked. I just thought that was really interesting. Meanwhile, yeah, both Jesse and Paul. Is Paul
Joel.
Joel? Yeah, Jesse and Joel.
I said Paul earlier.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they're adrenaline junkies. Joel is interesting because he was so torn up about the deaths of his friends and the deaths of or the death of Sammy. But then, I mean, I guess we don't know how much time passes, but it's like it feels like it's like that night they're in DC and he's like, "Let's go, let's get it." You know what I mean? Like it just felt like now that he's back in it, he's happy again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that very well could have been the because he's an alcoholic, you know, or at least it's implied a little
Is he an
bit.
alcoholic or did he just get drunk one time, Hunter?
Well, no, he's drinking. I think pretty frequently throughout the movie. I don't know if it's implied that he's an alcoholic, but it implies that it definitely he definitely drinks, and especially after that moment, he wakes up with the bottle of vodka like in the grass.
Okay.
Now, look, his friend just got executed, so like I understand that, but um, I'm just saying that to say to me, it was kind of saying like he's coping in unhealthy ways too, and maybe part of that is that adrenaline rush and getting right back in it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we can wrap up with the end. So, what do you think of the last, like the last whole sequence, you know, of being in DC was bonkers to me. I thought it was
Yeah, it gave
phenomenal.
me Nightcrawler vibes. It gave me the original Cloverfield, like those kind of vibes where it's just like chaos all around, shaky cam, you know, back when that was cool. I don't know. I thought it was super well done. I thought it was really, really well done. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't have any complaints. It was interesting to see, maybe not their friends, but their colleagues and how they were like right in there too, like reporting on it live. Um, I do think it's odd. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in war. Maybe this is a thing, but how throughout the film and specifically in the last like 30 minutes or so or however long that sequence is, it felt like 30 minutes if it wasn't. Um the media are like right behind whoever is like fighting, like literally directly behind them. I feel like if I was in the military, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, like you're going to die, get out of here, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, there is that one part when they actually get in the White House and the guy's like, "Stay out of our fucking way."
yeah, yeah.
Excuse me, sorry for the f bomb, but yeah, I don't know if that's how it is, but I was like, they really are in there. And what's funny is like when they get to like the entrance to the White House, like that gate.
Hmm.
To your point, like Joel and the cameraman are like shooting shit, like, "Hey man, like, oh, are you gonna get the shot first?" And he's like, "I know, dude, it's crazy."
Yeah.
And it's like, I every time that happened, I thought someone's gonna get their head blown off just right then. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Like, I was waiting for it. Um, but I really, this is more of a technical comment that I have, but also directive choice. I love that about 5 or 10 minutes into the whole siege on DC, like when they were on the ground, I was like, "There's no music. There's not been any music except for there's no sound design except for what's happening," and I thought that was super effective.
Yeah.
Um, I loved the soundtrack to this movie. It was very unexpected and really kind of jarring in an interesting way, like some of the song choices and like melodic choices that happened contrasted with the visuals that you were seeing. But in the end, there's not really any music, and I thought that's a super cool choice because you're in it. Like it takes you right in there. You know, at least see it in theaters, and you have the big sound. Um, yeah, I thought it was. Ooh man, I was on the edge of my seat. I was really stressed out.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and then they find him. I thought it was interesting when like the press secretary was like trying to talk to them, and
We
she
suggest
was like,
Greenland or France or whatever she said, right? Like,
yeah, yeah. There was something like she was like, I just want a plea deal, and she's like, no deals, bang bang. And so whatever happened, whatever this president did, was enough to make the polar opposites of California and Texas want to team up.
yeah. Well,
So
they are both like big tech hubs. So maybe it's just all like Elon and Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know. They were.
does he live in Texas?
Well, I just know that like the big tech places, like places that build like computers
Mm-hmm.
and Facebook and Apple and all that stuff, are either like Silicon Valley or like Dallas Fort Worth or Austin. You know what I mean? Like those are like the big tech areas. So
Yeah. Um, but yeah, then they get him. I did really like. Uh, I really enjoyed. It was the payoff of when Joel like wanted to get a quote, and he was like, "Please don't let him kill me." And he was like, "Yeah, that'll do." I thought that was a good payoff and kind of showed. What did Sammy say? Like all the big ones, like they show their true colors in the end. You know,
weak.
yeah.
I don't
And
see
then
how
there you go.
anyone,
That's it.
if they beat the loyalist states and then the other like alliances all go to war with each other. I know that the Western forces did the heavy lifting for that, but I don't see anybody beating the SEC. I just don't. You know,
It just means more. You know,
it just means more. That's right.
it just means more.
Oh goodness.
Um, yeah, and then there you go. That's the end. That's the end of the movie.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So Zach, I think I have to ask you this time. Is that how this works?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we've discussed a lot of things, point out a lot of points, a lot of technical things, a lot of creative things, but ultimately I have to ask you, but is Civil War, the 2024 film by Alex Garland, good?
Yes, I can officially say directly into the microphone. Yes. Yes, it is. Look, I can move my hat.
I was just about to say,
That's a cool little trick, isn't
yes, it
it?
is good. It is good. Well, neato. Is it time for Every Movie Sucks?
Oh yeah.
Every movie sucks. Every movie sucks. Here we go. Here we go. Ready? A slam dunk. This is a half star. Slam dunk concept with perfect timing and completely toothless, stupid execution. Neutered, bland, safe, exploitative, and unimportant. Bad. Wow.
Dang. Okay, here's one that I want to have a short conversation about. So, this one is half star. Haven't seen, but they used AI in the promo. Um, so there were these pictures put out, and it was like I don't know, like Boston, it was messed up, or Las Vegas, and it was all like war torn.
Okay.
Um, are we sure they'd use AI, or could they have just used CGI? And are people conflating the two? Like, how do we know it was
I don't.
AI? I
I
guess.
don't know the story. Did
Okay,
they admit
that's
to
fair.
using AI?
Oh, I don't know. I just see these pictures and they're like, "Are you fucking kidding me? It's AI," because it's not like a real thing. So I think anytime there's something that's like not doesn't align with reality, people think it's AI, but it could be CGI. Because people.
Interesting.
I mean, think about like Cloverfield. They didn't actually get a giant fucking monster to fuck up a city. They used CGI.
That is true.
Not
That is
AI.
true. Interesting.
Just want to point that out.
I didn't know that. Interesting. Here we go. Half star. Oh, where'd it go? Oh no, here we go. Half star. In some, an offensive, plotless, fear mongering onslaught with no tangible message. Garland does not understand America.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Half star. The best part was when the press truck windshield got shot up and then magically was fixed in the next scene. It did happen.
So I can see that this is interesting because there are
There's a lot of comments about AI.
tons of comments. Interesting. I'll do one more. Here we go. Oh my gosh. Here we go. This one includes AI. Here we go. Uh, going back and giving this an even lower rating after finding out they used AI for their posters. I saw this movie as a soulless cash grab, and now it's become even more cemented. This is a hollow movie. They do not properly respect artists nor the audience. Garbage propaganda. Interesting. I gotta Google that. Civil War AI.
Get add to the news. Um, here's one that says worst movie I've seen since Men. Which that was also Alex Garland.
Men is not for everybody. I'll read this afterwards. Interesting. Okay, cool. There you go, everybody. That's the Civil War the movie. Yeah,
Yeah, sorry, I'm reading about the AI thing.
you're fine. I'll read about it afterwards. I'm gonna start news. Is that cool with you? Shindigs? Shindig time.
Okay, a source confirmed that they are AI images.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't love that choice.
Have you seen them?
I don't love that choice. I have seen them. I didn't realize that they were AI at the time. But maybe because I couldn't really tell where they were, like what cities they were supposed to be. They something about them did look kind of off, but
well, one of them
whatever.
is Las Vegas because you see the giant ball.
I did know. Yeah, I did know that.
And then the other one looks like it might be like Boston. I don't know. A lot of emphasis on a river.
So, movie news: Civil War used AI for posters, and people are pissed about it. Yeah, I don't love that. But cool. Here's some news: Johnny Knoxville is apparently working on ideas for Jackass 5, which is amazing. That's still a thing. Damien Chazelle has begun working on his follow-up to Babylon. That was worded weird. I don't think it's like a follow-up to Babylon. It's just like his next movie.
Mm-hmm.
Keanu Reeves has been cast as Shadow the Hedgehog in Sonic 3.
Yep.
Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson, I'm not excited about this, although I do like Liam Neeson, are going to star in a remake of The Naked Gun. Which is interesting because that's like Leslie Nielsen and like a classic. Jim Carrey, speaking of Sonic 3, Jim Carrey will have a game accurate fat suit to play Dr. Eggman.
Okay.
Transformers 1, their trailer debuted in space or something. And that's a movie that's coming out. Ma and Pa Kent have been cast in Superman, and people are mad because they're like unknown actors and they think it should be like celebrities, but whatever.
Okay, I saw some stuff on Twitter. People were upset. This is literally what people were saying on Twitter. People thought that Zack Snyder cast like attractive actors. And they were like, and they just got like grandparents for these films. What is James Gunn doing? And it's like, but they are grandparents. You know what I mean?
Oh my
like,
gosh, it's almost like they are grandparents.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Superman's not a child.
Right.
And so his parents would be older.
Which
and
they were. I mean,
they're older when they find him.
Right. Yeah. So, anyways, that's part of the controversy. Well, not controversy, but just like people being upset about bullshit.
You should read the source material. The first trailer for Captain America 4 with Harrison Ford was shown at CinemaCon. And then, what?
I didn't know Harrison Ford was going to be in a Marvel film. What?
Yeah, he's playing Thunderbolt Ross because the other guy passed away. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the big one is that Quentin Tarantino basically said, "Nah, never mind."
Yeah.
He's no longer making The Film Critic as his final film. Is he still making a 10th film, or is he just like done?
I'm sure he's still making a 10th film. I think what happened is that he has constricted himself to only make one more film. And as he was starting on this project, which I'm sure would have been phenomenal, he said, "This is my last film. I don't think I want to do this. I think I need to do something more grand or something better or blah, blah, blah." So I think he's kind of having a little bit of a freak out just because he said for years that he's making 10 films and then he's done, which I think is silly. I mean, I bet Scorsese didn't plan on making as many movies as he's made, but he keeps making them because he still has a passion to do so. So I just think it's silly that Tarantino has like put this, hard cap.
Yeah, but he put it there himself. Like he can say, "Actually, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to do more."
He could, but I don't think he's going to.
Well, that's the news. That's all I have.
There you go. Well, the Braves,
News of the
Hunter,
week.
let me tell you about the Braves. The Braves have the best record in the majors as of this recording. Despite the loss of Spencer Strider, despite the temporary loss of Ozzy Albies, who has a broken grand toe. I think is what
Does that
they.
just mean big toe?
Yeah, big toe. But I think they either called it the grand toe or the great toe. Either way, I was like,
That's
it's the big toe.
interesting.
And we had a little bit of a scare with Ronald Acuna, who got hit on the knee. I don't know if you saw that play when he was like diving
I
for
did
a
not
catch.
see that play.
He got hit by a fly ball. He was sliding to make a catch in the outfield. Should have been Michael Harris's ball, but you know how Ronnie's like, it's mine. So he was sliding and he missed it, and it hit the inside of the same knee that he had surgery on back in 2021, like the bad knee. And he was in a lot of pain, and trainers came out, but he's okay. And then he hit his first home run of the year, which that's long
I did see
overdue.
that.
Marcell Ozuna, I think, still leads the league in home runs, although we have the night off tonight. So, there were a couple people one behind him, so they might have caught up. But, the Braves are doing well. The Braves are doing pretty well. And yet, our losses are to the Marlins, the Mets, the Phillies, and the White Sox, right?
Which the Phillies are, they're only a couple games behind us. They are a good team. Hate them. And the Mets are playing way over expectations right now, but it's also really early. So,
the Mets have been on a heater just the past week because they started out awful. Weren't they like 0-6 or 0-7? Oh, 0-5. Okay.
The White Sox, that was pretty bad because White Sox suck.
Yeah. Yep.
But hey, whatever.
It happens.
Cool. Yeah, you got anything else? That's very brave of you.
This is the bravest thing I've done all week. Do you want to take a shot?
Yeah, totally. I totally have a shot. Let me grab it.
Tell someone you love that you love them. Tell someone that you hate that you love them. Just tell
Whiskey
people
shots.
that you love them. Whiskey shots.
I don't have any whiskey in this hotel room, sorry. All right, Zach, where can they find us?
God, I don't know. Probably, I mean, it's possible that it won't be on X for much longer because it sounds like we're just going to not be able to do anything unless we pay, and I don't want to pay for X.
We're not paying for that.
Where can they find us?
Anyway, for now, you can find us for now on X at BIIG Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at But Is It Good Podcast. You can find me at Hunter Callahan Music everywhere. You can find Zach on Instagram. He never uses it, but you can still follow him at Zach with an H to the number THA future.31. Zach to the future.31. And yeah, I never posted the schedule, but we're doing next week. What, Monkey Man? Is that what we're doing?
Monkey Man is the plan, Stan.
That's the plan, Stan. Rad.
Well, thank you for joining us for this episode where we talked about Civil War, the movie. We'll talk to you next week, beautiful people who listen to us and love us and subscribe and like and tell all of their friends about us.
But only the ones who do all of those things.
If you don't do every single one of those things, then, I mean, we're okay, but we're just not you're not getting an invite to the dinner party, And we throw really good dinner parties.
We do. They're legendary. All right, cool. Go Braves.
Go Braves. But Is It Good Podcast? Yeah.